I don't know. We'll have to read your recitation. Mr. Henry Adedokun is his name. Is a facilitator that has trained in a lot of capacity. Is an internationally recognized trainer, and he's been in this profession for decades. He's definitely my senior in training, and it's a privilege for us to have him here in our midst, and I appreciate that. So let's give him a round of applause. Yes. He's also the CEO Ensure Consults. Yes, you're welcome, sir. Thank you so much. So we'll start briefly by introducing Standard Lift Consult and what we do. Basically, what we are interested in is to support schools by organizing programs like this, organizing capacity building programs to upskill the abilities and skills of teachers, learners, even school leadership, to offer consultancy services that can assist the school to be better, to improve on the learning output or any capacity at all that has to do with schools. So we work with educationists at any level at all, and then our vision is to see that the learning that schools are engaged in is transformative, and also to ensure that school leadership exhibits excellence and that the institution, which are schools, experience growth. And also, we are interested in empowering individuals, as I said earlier, which are the learners, the staff, even the school leadership, the school management, working with organizations and institutions to ensure high quality education through capacity building and leadership development by strategic consultancy services. And we are glad that this is one of the platforms that we use to reach out to schools. And what we do is beyond training. We recently covered the inter-house sports event of a school, and we'll be showcasing that event on our social media platforms for the public to see what the school is about. So we also do that. We engage in, how do I put it now, promotional services for schools. If you have any special facility, you're welcome. Any event, special event that your school is running, you can invite us. We interview, and then we capture the event, and we'll put it out there for the public to see and then have a feel of what the school is about. And we believe this will further enhance the patronage from the public for your school. That is a brief summary of what Standard Lift is about. So we go straight into the first presentation, which is effective care. Yes, ma'am, you're welcome, ma'am. Effective care in schools. This topic is one of the very important issue that we make or can impede the development of a school. Because the reason why parents will come and patronize you is because they trust the school to care for their children. Even if the parent is not aware that a child is well taken care of, a parent can know if a child is not comfortable in the school. And if a child is not comfortable in the school, there's no way the parents will want to keep patronizing that school. And that brings us to realize that the learner is the first customer of a school. And the reason why learners, a lot of issues happen between learners and teachers, the interest of learners colliding with the school policy or school interest is because the school, usually in most cases, schools don't see those learners, irrespective of how small, even up to crèche, a baby in the crèche, that baby is not even the parent that's the first customer. That child is the first customer. And we know in business, there's a saying that customers are kings. So there's this popular saying about customers are always right. So because without the customer, the business will suffer. The business can cease operation if there's no patronage. And when we see learners as the priority, it will help us to tailor our policy, our activities, and then ensure conducive environment that can enable or enhance, that can foster development of these learners. So we'll be going through some points that will help us to understand what care is about. When a school cares properly for learners, it is proven that it can even improve attendance. There's a case study of a school. I'm sorry. There's a case study where a school recorded increase in their attendance. Or should I say, yes, let's say attendance. Of course, because you find out, I just said it the other time, that you find learners not wanting to go to school. They are not free with a certain teacher. They don't want to enter the class. They start crying, just because of what they suffer or what they don't enjoy in the school. And then, if you want to understand care, we have to look at it holistically. We can talk about it with respect to academic, emotional, physical, social, and moral. Usually, schools focus on the academics. We only want to teach them maths and English and all those other subjects. And then we are always concerned about them passing the test, passing the exams. And there are some teachers, even when the learner scores, let's say, 3/10, then they say if you score below 7, then they cane them. It's not right. It's all right. If a child did not perform to expectation in a given test or exam, a lot of factors can cause it. A lot of factors. For example, my daughter, didn't perform well in her mathematics in this the just concluded termly exam. And I know in mathematics, and I know she's good in math. In fact, she does not allow us assist her with homeworks. So definitely I know something is wrong, and a lot of things. I'm not going to start scolding her. You didn't do well in your exams. No, we only have to investigate what went wrong and then assist the child to be better. Emotionally, it's important for us to care for these learners because we don't know what they are coming up with from school. From home. So it's important for us to create an environment where there will be no peer pressure, there is no bullying, an environment that can help learners to express themselves freely. Some learners are already down coming from home. Some of them have suffered abuse from home, especially those who don't live with their parents. Some of them, their parents have fought that morning before coming to school. Some of them, probably the child did not even eat. Maybe the mother is not around, the house girl didn't provide food, and the child is in school. And the child, misbehave, and then the teacher is already saying, kneel down, raise up your hands, stood down, do this. So we need to be careful how we attend to these learners. And then physically, we have to ensure that these learners are not physically abused. We have to ensure that they are sitting in class. You get to some schools, although it's not really applicable to private schools. Relatively, private schools still do better when it comes to school environment than the public schools. Although the government is doing a lot of there's a lot of intervention going on now in public schools that improves their facilities. But however, these things can still be improved, even in private schools. How the learners sit to ensure their sitting arrangement is comfortable. There was a school I went to, I'm not going to mention the name of the school, and I noticed that one of the learner seats, it's a private school, was not good. And they even used, I think, one rope to hold a part of the chair. I was like, with that much you collect in this school, this should not be happening. The child pays school fees now. You can't be doing this. Then I said, if I was a parent, if I found this out, by the next morning, my child won't stay in that school until you fix that chair. So, schools need to pay attention to the physical needs of these learners. And then, these learners also should enjoy social engagement. They should mix, there should be a lot of interaction. And then, learners are also in school to learn morals. And in a way, I feel schools are not really doing well in this regard. Unlike when we were in school, I don't think schools, maybe I'm wrong, probably during question and answer and comments, maybe you will give me feedback if I'm wrong or not. I think schools are a lot distracted now. And I'm calling us out to go back to those days that even from our assembly ground, we begin to tell these learners about morals, how to be responsible in the home, in the society, how to greet. I remember that I learned how to cross the road in the school. It was not my parents that taught me how to cross the road. They tell you when you stand by the roadside, you go to where the zebra crossing is, you leave like roof right for you, and all those things. So a lot of things these learners can learn. And in most cases, they believe, they trust, or should I say they fear in a good way, teachers rather than parents. If parents say something, say, no, my teacher said. So we should use that strength and ensure these learners turn out better. Care is not abuse. Care is not neglect. After the presentation, I would make sure we have the full notes. Not this slide. This one is scanty. The full notes. We will need it. Care is not abuse. One thing we need to train ourselves on, and most importantly, all the teachers under us, is to understand that if you want to correct a child, just make sure you are standing in the love position, or else you abuse that child. In most cases, you find teachers correcting a child out of the issues they have. A teacher canes a child angrily just because maybe he's not happy or maybe he's not happy, with a lot of issues. And it's better if you know that you can't really be objective with how you are correcting the child. Even it's not even limited to caning. A teacher can be angry and say very terrible words. I don't want to say anything like that. You are this and that, out of anger. And some people are so used to it that even if a child has not even really done something really bad, that thing comes out. Well, it is wrong because words are powerful. And such words, negative words, should never come out of a teacher's mouth. And then there is this mindset, that they call it positive psychology. Some parents will say, oh, serious. That's negative psychology. Your mind, that person's mind is already like seeing that child to be that the child cannot do better. Just like my daughter now, if it was another parent, the parents would have been, mama, I know that's not the case. Even if you feel something is wrong, pray for the child and put in the effort and believe that the child will do better. Don't begin to tell the child, oh, serious, Lord Joko, you didn't do well in some parents will now be hammering it on the child. They want to take the other children and say, sit down. No, I'm not buying anything. You didn't do it. No. That's negativity. We should rather speak positive words. You didn't do it. You try again. You work hard. If my children do any assignment or test and then they score low, they tell me freely. Say, don't worry. We'll read that. It means you didn't prepare well. If they score maybe 9 out of 10, say, I missed one. Don't worry. We'll try again. That's the spirit. To always encourage them. For those ones that score low, try and see what could have caused it. The truth of the matter is those learners are there to be better, and it's the duty of the teacher to do all that is necessary, working with even their parents to ensure that they record success. Also, neglect. A teacher cannot neglect learners. Sometimes when parents complain in school, then the response is that teachers will neglect that child. Ọmọ ní pé ìgbà yẹn ni mọ́mí ẹ̀ máa wá ń sìn. Ọmọ sọ pé ká máa ná ẹ̀ mọ́ ká máa fọ́. Please, we should never neglect these learners. Honestly, one thing that teachers will always, like, if there's anything like that, they should always bathe with love water before entering the school. Dealing with children, when we treat them wrongly. And the only way to really get the best from them is when we love them. I've seen cases, like the school where I did my teaching practice during my undergraduate days. The school, public school where we were posted was a school where they have really notorious students. And those teachers were neglecting them. Students that they've condemned, that they can't be serious. Now, as undergraduates, we moved close to these guys and then we began to work with them. And we even got the best out of them. If these learners can be treated with love, of course they can change. And then humiliation. The way some people or some teachers believe they can correct, even parents, some parents do it. Shame! Look at you. You poop on your body. No. Honestly, we always have to ensure what comes out of our mouth always have to be positive. Always have to be positive until we get the desired result. Always have to be positive. So we should not humiliate. Although, keep quiet. I know you say nonsense. No. Thank you very much for that response. But this is the answer. If a learner stands up in class or raises up here to answer a question and he says something completely off, we should say, thank you for that response. Then we can ask another learner to try, or we now give the correct answer. We always have to appreciate and encourage them. Now, the importance of care is for us to prepare these learners for future, for them to be employable, and for them to prepare them also for lifelong learning. Some learners or some people have been damaged from the way they were handled from primary school. Some people have been made to believe that they can never know maths from primary school. And if that happens, that learner, the lifelong learning, the future learning of that child it may not go well. Some people are better speakers because they were allowed to talk from school. Some people could stand up for themselves. Some people are activists today because how they were given responsibilities. There are some kids who don't do house chores at home, but they learned how to sweep from school because we engage them. Of course, at least the small space that's their classroom. Like I remember in my secondary school, we were about 4 or 5, a group of 4 or 5 that we sweep the classroom. Just a small, it's not even up to this space that we are in. And 5 of us are sweeping. Before you know it, under 5 minutes, we are done. Do you still do it? Like 4 or 5 of them. So that is part of it. In fact, I did home management when I was in SS1, learning how to cook. So we see that is important for us. And then this employability aspect and preparing learners for the future is a very, very big aspect. Please, the way even though the government has given us curriculum, that curriculum is very wide. We have scheme of work. We don't know how to cover it. We have WAEC syllabus, NECO syllabus, all manner of syllabus and scheme of work. But let us always remember that our first customer is the learners. If those learners leave our school and they are not prepared for the future within the level of our school, probably primary, nursery. In fact, I've seen primary school teachers that are complaining that the kind of learners that are coming into the primary school, primary one, that are more be our nursery teachers, that they don't know how those nursery school teachers are handling them. So, and then secondary, we also complain that the learners coming into GS1 from primary 6 too, they don't know. Lecturers will complain that the undergraduates that are coming into other level, they don't even know how come they can't write simple sentences. So we see that everybody must do their work from nursery. By nursery 2, what that learner must get, you should ensure the learner gets it, preparing them for the next step. Also, from primary 4, 5, 6, you are preparing them for the secondary school. And then before SS3, you're also preparing them for tertiary education. And then what the aspect I'm really touching on is future. What is that future? The future everybody is looking forward to is to be self-reliant. And then when we talk about employability, it's a big problem now. And that is why government is doing a lot on TVET, technical vocational education, now. Because it is what can improve on the industrialization of the country. And then that's the only way by which we can create more jobs. But there is a huge gap between the kind of graduates we are having now and those that can be employed. I'm sure you are a scholar. You will have an idea of the people that might have been coming to your school for interview to be recruited. Are you the principal, sir? You also have an idea of some people that are coming to your school too, for employment, and then you can tell what they are coming with. Even you too, man, you will know. So we see that we have to ensure that those learners we are training are ready for the life out there. So the way we train them might require extra beyond what the curriculum is saying. For example, by the time a child is leaving secondary school, that child should have a skill. Irrespective of, maybe it's barbing, maybe it's hairdressing, maybe it's sewing, garment making, or any skill, cosmetology, that child must have a skill. If that child goes into university without a skill, you are already creating problem for that child. Because the probability that he's studying economics is how you're going to get a job with that course is very low. Even someone that is working in an office still has other job that the person, maybe other skill that the person is doing. There's hardly anybody now that can really make it staying on one job. Even if a teacher is only doing teaching, the teacher is also probably doing home lesson and doing one or two things. Maybe the person is doing online tutor and things like that. So we see that it's important for us to ensure these learners are well prepared. A learner can derive interest even in sports if we allow them. Some schools will only hammer on read your book, don't play ball. Some people think playing football is a riba. It's not too. With the amount of money footballers are being paid, football is not a riba. Now, health and safety. When I was preparing for this talk, this presentation, something came to my mind that what if there is a fire incident, an area, God forbid, anywhere around a school? What will the learners do? Do the learners know what to do? Because I doubt if schools have what they call muster points and direction that leads to it, and that all the learners are aware that in case there's an emergency, and there's something they also call emergency exit, and no room. Look at now, there's an exit there. If something is happening in this direction, we all go there. Something like we all go out here. And I hope we will not have classrooms that will have one single entry. And there are some people, they will lock that door permanently. That they will have to start looking all over the place before they even find the key. It is wrong, oh. It is wrong. It's wrong. You know, it's not like we will envisage that, what they call it, that something will happen, but just do the needful. Even fire extinguisher, on a block, there should be one fire extinguisher. Just in case, anything can happen. Even first aid box, anything can happen. So, let us take health and safety, safe environment. Let's ensure environment is safe. Wherever they are playing, let's ensure it is safe. And then the way we organize our protocol, you know, who picks the child, who comes in, who goes out. Our security protocol is very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Honestly, because, okay. So let us just be very careful. Who has access into our school premises, and then who has access to our children when they are in school. Then their mental health, very important. When teachers are, in fact, from the time the learners enter school, enter the premises, we should always look out for ensuring that they are stable. That they are stable. Honestly, no matter what I'm doing, if I see any of my children doing things anyhow, I will stop. I will get up. Whether, even if they are with their mom, and I suspect that something is wrong, I will go to them immediately, what is wrong? That should be how we should treat these learners. A teacher will be in class, a learner will be sleeping, the teacher will just continue teaching. You know, a teacher will not ask question. Maybe that learner was not even concentrating, and then you beat that child because the child was concentrating. The child that is not concentrating, it's something is wrong. That's what is causing the distraction is what should be addressed. And it's also the reason why we need professional counselors in our school. And we don't need to recruit someone. If we can, why not? Because honestly, a counseling psychologist in our school is very important. If we use that person well, it will help us. Because the person will help you to know what is wrong with the child's academic achievement, will help you in behavioral changes and a lot of things. If you can afford it, then use that person. In schools, those times, it's the counseling teacher that will sit down alone. They will hardly have anything to do, now. And it's wrong. Some learners are falling behind in class. Some learners will come late. Parents will complain about some learners. There are a lot of issues. Those issues, send it to them now. Let them treat it and follow them up. Let them do their therapy. And then the head of the school should follow up with the report and then ensure that necessary actions are taken. I believe one of the key people that can assist in the development of children in schools are counselors. Our counselors, very, very important. Even in the university, just that, university, they don't really use them. And I think that's why they have course advisor. Maybe we should get course advisor. How many people has ever gone for course advisor for counseling that in my course, something like this is wrong? I don't know. Can you, those facilities are there, but in most cases, we don't use them. We don't. So we need a counseling psychologist. Also, hygiene is very important. I remember when I was at Adegboyega, we went to a school, myself and the ZU, we went to a school like that. The ZU had to run back out of that school. I mean, we entered, the place was like a face shield building, and then we just entered. The kind of bad smell that was oozing from that, And learners, it was a primary school that were there, Even they didn't have a good toilet. Learners at the back, they were just pooing anyhow, Those children will be falling sick regularly, I remember when my child was still small, when they were in crèche and nursery, I was always monitoring their health. If anything goes wrong, I'm always quick to relate it to the kind of learners they've mingled. When they start sneezing or they start coughing, maybe someone else in the school that's also doing it, which is why school has to be strict, And then their school has this policy that if your child is sick, let the child stay home. until it's ready. Because so that you don't cause chaos. They don't start picking because you don't know which one is contagious. Those are things. You have to ensure hygiene. Hand washing. I'm not sure schools still used to do this thing. I'm not sure. Hand washing is really important. Well, we should have some designated places where there's running water and then they can wash their hands with soap when they play. After break, wash your hand. After eating, wash. Even before eating, wash their hands. And then emergency readiness. We've talked about that. Also, another aspect of care is quality teaching. Of course, that's why they're in school. There should be quality teaching, and that teaching must be learner-centered. And I'm emphasizing it again, that irrespective of what the curriculum, scheme of work, or whatever is saying, whatever you are putting out there, should be learner-centered. Just always tell yourself that the person I'm pleasing is not even my oga, is that learner in class. If teachers will see learners as their first customer, then the way they do their job will be better. And then we should also understand that teachers has a lot to do with the success and improvement of the school. Teachers relate more with parents, no matter whether the head of the school like it or not. Teachers will see parents more than you. Because you are not, the head of school probably just be in the office. A teacher has about 20, 25 learners in his class. The parents will interface. So whatever goes wrong with that teacher and the learners, the teacher and the parents will affect the school. I remember someone wanted to pull 3 children out of the school where my children attend. And, she has a twins in the nursery. The school has 2 locations. A secondary is different from the primary. So the 3 of them were in the nursery before. So one now got to primary. So primary is another location. She now said she's going to move all of them to another school that has all the learners in the same, that she can't be picking this one here. I now told her it's a simple matter. School bus is also moving from nursery to primary. Even you can drop them in the nursery, school bus will pick them if it's primary like that. So you don't have, just decide on where you want to be dropping them and where you want to be picking them. Tell whoever is moving with the school bus to move to the other location. You pick them in one single location. And that was how we solved it. Another one told me, while we were just interacting, that I heard that in the primary section there's a teacher that is always beating them. And I said, who told you that one? Well, I heard about that one too, and I'm aware that teacher has been asked to leave. Okay, so you don't need to be afraid about any teacher treating your child bad, because the school management definitely frowns at it, and that teacher was let go. If I had a problem with the school, I would have told that parent, I beg, come on your child, myself, I dey come out too. I'm leaving. I'm not even going to, once this term ends, I'm not going. And one parent is going to, so managing one parent is very important, because if you don't manage the parents well, it can spiral. Parents should have access to the head of the school. Access to the head of the school. I had to be telling some of also the parents that, some parents, they will say, it's on that PTA meeting. I will talk. I'm not going to agree. They did this. And I said, you are even trying. Something happened and you actually bottle it up and you are waiting for PTA meeting. What happened to going to meet the head teacher? What are you waiting for? And no, PTA meeting on the first. No, now. They can't even address it well in PTA meeting. You only cause other parents to start shouting, Instead of you to go and meet, then you talk about it. Whoever is involved, they will call the person, you solve it, and it's done. So we need to educate our parents too, not to bottle up any matter. You are not happy with anything, just come and we iron it out. That way, we will manage our parents better. So learners comes first, and parents come second, as collaboration is key for success handling these learners. Then motivation. I've talked about positive psychology. That is a positive mindset. Having a positive mindset. Some people cannot see darkness. Once there's dark like this, they start imagining maybe there's something creepy coming. It's part of what we are saying. You deciding what the situation is with your mind. Some people are okay, whether the room is lit or the room is dark. You just know God is with me. I'm not alone. And it's that simple. The same way, even a child is acting funny. What do you think? What you should rather think of is a solution and keep speaking positive words to the child. Never conclude in your mind that something is bad. It's very important. It affects learners a lot. I entered a store one day, and one of the attendants was saying, mo broke. Mo broke, bah. As I was walking towards the lady, and I said, you will be broke. She now looked at me. I said, it's the fact. You said you are broke now, and that's what you will be broke now. And now I went further to educate the lady. And you don't say things like that. When you are saying mo broke, how are you now intending to make it better? If you need something, say I need, I want, not I don't have. So we always have to find a better way to say things. Okay, and then we've talked about using bad words too. Never. In fact, it should never be tolerated. Never be tolerated for any reason. Any teacher that cannot be stable to care for the learners has no business being there. I know it may not be easy, but please, it's your job. It's your job. Now, discipline. Discipline that we met out should be lawful. That is according to the law. UNESCO, UNICEF, Child Rights Act, they talk a lot about these things. And even the school policy. A school might have their own policy, how they handle discipline. We've seen a lot of cases where caregivers or teachers handle learners in a bad way, and CCTV camera revealing such. It's not too much if schools have CCTV in classes. It's not too much. When people know they are being watched, they comport themselves. The reason why there's less theft in supermarket now is that when you enter, you see camera. Even in some places where they sell huge gadgets, they will put screen. Let's say they are selling laptops here. They will put screen here. Like when you enter, you will see it. So that you see yourself like this. So don't bother pocketing. Don't bother. And there are some stores, once you step in like this, one of the attendants will also be following you. Monitoring. When people are monitored, they behave well. But when they know, that madam, she will soon go to US and she's not even going to be caring what is happening in the school, just do anyhow. So the school must communicate the policy on discipline correctly. And then discipline should be corrective. The goal is for you to correct, to change something. Not because you are angry. And then discipline should also be respectful. Irrespective of, well, maybe it's one child. Discipline that child with respect. Don't say, remove your trouser. And everybody start laughing. See your pants. You now beat the child and say, you will on the floor. No, you are humiliating that child. So discipline must be respectful. Respectful. The truth of the matter is, anybody that does wrong already knows. Even a baby. If a baby does something wrong, they know. So when they already know, what else are you now looking for? So even our children, we will know. It's enough. Once they know, it's enough. When we were also children, our parents say, once they find out that we've done something wrong, we are already killing ourselves. That one alone is enough. They now counsel the child. And in some instances, you just have to keep praying and keep believing. And whatever corrective measure we are going to meet out has to be lawful, corrective, and respectful, and should not be harmful. Any correction or discipline that brings harm, that is no more discipline. That's no more discipline. And a lot of times, when my children do what is wrong, I always bring God into the matter, because I think that one helps a lot. When you look at, even if I do something wrong, how does God handle me? Does God beat me? When we reason out how God even treats us, as we ourselves are not perfect, then we'll take it easy on them. And then one of the ways I like to think about this is how the prodigal son, how the father, treated the child. After the child came back to himself, what's he right now? And the child came back himself. Some parents, when the child does what is bad and run out of the house, when the child says, Toba, you come. Or they will wait till the child is sleeping. They will now wake up the child from the sleep, and it is wrong. It's wrong. There's no other place that should be a safe haven for the children than the home. And in the educational sector, the school should be the home for the learner. That is why it's always a bad signal. If a learner is not happy to see the teacher, he's not happy to see her friends, he's not happy to enter the classroom, he's not happy to enter the school, it's always a bad omen. And parents or school heads have to watch for that. You see a child, behaving somehow to the teacher, not being free or being afraid to relate. Such a thing has to be looked into immediately. Yes, we talked about guidance and counseling, and they will offer emotional, behavioral, and career support. I said this already. Curriculum, I said it already too, should be flexible. And then ICT. My flair for using computer, the thing is, as much as I am very skilled in using the computer, I did not go to a computer school, I did not do any training, but I have a flair for it, and then I discovered that I could grab a lot of things easily. If I see you do anything now, I will never forget, and I will learn it. And I taught myself a lot of things, and then I've been able to be privileged to attend a lot of programs too that enhance my capacity. But what I'm saying is that innate ability to cope with these things will come from school, which is why it's important schools take ICT seriously. Some people are adults, they are scared to touch the computer. So we have to expose them to ICT. I remember when we were in school then, it's always a class, a period in class, the other period in the computer room. And then it was maximum of 2 learners to 1 computer system. So we have to do well with it. Also, WAEC has bought into the CBT for WAEC now. So we see that it's coming down. So we should key into it. We should ensure our learners learn these things. And also we should ensure safe infrastructure. Please, I don't even like joking with infrastructure. There was a place I was posted to work, and I insisted that the furniture I'm supposed to use has to be changed. And I insisted, and the principal of that school then I had some years of teaching experience before I was transferred to zonal education office, and then before headquarters, and now I'm in a special board now. So, safe infrastructure. I can't cope I can't manage environment too, and I believe nobody should manage, especially where we sit. Nobody should manage it. Nobody. So those learners, let's make sure they are comfortable. Even teachers, let's make sure teachers are comfortable. Support services. We should have health services for the learners, mentorship, and welfare support. I'm sure a lot of schools do this welfare support. Sometimes we let school fees go. Sometimes we give them after tuition, we give them free lesson or even food sometimes. We support them one way or the other. Then responsibility, leadership role, accountability, and independence. Learners should be allowed to take responsibility. Learning to be responsible starts from the school. Learners should be allowed to take leadership roles. They should be allowed to be accountable for whatever they've done. And they should also experience independence. Even the way the classroom is being structured, it's not every time that teaching will be like we are doing now. Learners can also interact and then do presentations like we are going to be doing soon. So if there's proper leadership, it can even reduce accountability. I've talked about this before. Moral and spiritual growth is one of the things we are supposed to learn in school. And I don't know if schools still do fellowship. In fact, there was, recently, if you enter Okimoson, we will see the big mosque. I don't know if you know, very close to the ministry. There's a big mosque, but there's no big church. I like, why? I'm nothing against the Muslims, so they've done well for themselves, but there should be a church too, where, Christians, I know they have a place they meet too. Christians meet as well for fellowship. Well, so it's important in school for us to allow spiritual growth, because what um, discipline or counseling cannot do, spiritual attention might just solve it. So they should also learn these things, depending on the kind of school they are in. Definitely, someone that takes a child to Ansarudin or Nawaruddin should not begin to say, "No, I want my child to be learning CRS." You know. So then rewards, recognition and incentive positive behavior. This one too, I feel this one too is missing. I feel this one is missing. How do we reward and recognize our learners? How? When they do well, we don't have to wait till prize giving day. No, 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 no. It's too far. No, 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 no. We should recognize them. We can even break it down. Maybe monthly, weekly, or like you put maybe a picture or something or the name on the notice board or something. I don't know how you. I know there are many ways by which you can recognize. Maybe it's on a learner that's always coming early, or a learner that is respectful, that is always active in class. These are things that will encourage them to want to do better. There just have to be a reason why others want to also do better. So we have to recognize them and then give incentives. Sometimes you don't want to beat your child for doing wrong. You want to reward the one that has done well, and the one that did not do well will also fall in line. Like you give 2 things to the one that has done well, you give 1. You need to work harder. Your sister has been the one sweeping the floor since morning. Next time, that one too want to sweep. That's incentive. So it doesn't really have to be punishment. All right, then stakeholder relationship. There are things that the community expect from a school. There are things that the government expect from a school. There are things that parents expect from a school. There are things that teachers expect. There are things that learners also expect. The school has to relate properly with the community. They have to feel our impact as much as possible. And the government, we understand that government part very well. There are a lot of things they need us to be doing, like paying our dues and then responding when they call and all those things. Parents expect us to care for their children and then for them to be better. Okay, so these are the expectations, that learning should be quality, should be safe, learners should be employable, and learning should be inclusive. So in conclusion, care is a legal, moral, and professional duty, and it is something a teacher has to do well, or else there'll be problem. Thank you very much.